Hello there. I'm Commander Alex Reynolds, veteran researcher for the Galactic Council. Today, we're witnessing an invasion, scented with lavender. The Xantheans' invasion message, a scented hologram accidentally beamed into a men's restroom in Nebraska. Yes, into a men's restroom. Welcome to Sci-Fi universe, where we decode every cosmic oddity. Do you buy the idea of an alien love declaration delivered by fragrance? I find it equal parts romantic and absurd. Agree with the title, Interstellar Love Transmission? Or think it's just Xanthean PR? Drop your take in the comments. Before we dive deeper, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, so Sci-Fi Universe can keep bringing you the strangest stories in the galaxy. Picture yourself stepping into the restroom, reaching for the sink, and suddenly hearing a whisper from the stars, "We come in peace, with lavender." Here's the kicker, a full-blast interstellar warning, happening in a locker room. A rotating sigil, a heady floral scent. That's how Xantheans demand our attention. So how will humanity respond? Selfies with the hollow invader? Or a frantic reach for deodorant? Stay tuned, Nebraska's reaction is coming, and so is yours. 1. Chaotic power, the darkly comic tragedy of the Xanthean invasion. For 50 millennia, the Xantheans have never tasted defeat, a streak so immaculate it could shame a diamond. From the gleaming command decks of their starcruisers, they gaze upon Earth's blue orb with all the solemnity of chefs inspecting a particularly plump strawberry. Their battle plans, catalogued in thousands of hyper-detailed schematics, culminate in a single proclamation from High Chancellor Vri. Their conquest is inevitable. And so, draped in boundless confidence yet blissfully ignorant of everyday human quirks, they launch the greatest invasion in recorded cosmic history. The inaugural move in the Grand Xanthean strategy, deploy a swarm of pint-sized stealth orbs to infiltrate Earth's defenses. Each orb, roughly the diameter of a soda bottle cap, is masterfully camouflaged as a discarded screw, a rusted bottle cap, or even a mimetic sparrow perched on a barn roof. In theory, these nanotech marvels slip unseen between humanity's radar net and microwave ovens. In practice, however, things went sideways. At roughly 9:32 a.m. local time in rural Iowa, the first stealth orb, painted to resemble a faded green rivet, drifted down over Joe's family farm. Joe, a retired welder and part-time garage tinkerer, had just finished polishing his riding lawnmower. Not noticing the orb's imperceptible hum, he mistook it for a loose bolt from the mower's deck. Joe, muttering to himself, "I bet this will fetch a pretty penny." Moments later, Joe pressed a roll of industrial-strength duct tape across the orb and stuck it firmly to the lever housing, reasoning that if he couldn't use it, someone else would appreciate the find. Oblivious to the priceless espionage tool now anchored to his mower, he wheeled the machine into the shed. Meanwhile, back at Xanthean Command, the data feeds flickered with frantic red warnings. Lieutenant Krun, "Sir, visual contact. The orb is stuck." General Zeke, deadpan, "Stuck? How does one stick a cloak and dagger assassin drone?" Lieutenant Krun, "It appears they have a substance called duct tape. We are recording 300 new impulses of confusion." And so unfolded the first bitter lesson. The Xantheans, architects of interstellar conquest, had neglected to account for human compulsions. Not warlords or statesmen, but a modest farmer armed with a roll of tape foiled their most sophisticated reconnaissance. From Joe's perspective, the orb became one more oddity in his garage. He propped his mower beside a shelf of mismatched paint cans and headed inside for coffee, entirely unaware that the small, adhesive-riddled screw was relaying every muffled engine roar, every squeak of worn bearings, straight back to a command ship orbiting 47,000 kilometers above. Back on the command bridge, the senior officers convened via HoloLink. "Hi, Chancellor Vri. Explain how our Apex Predator device has been rendered inert by, what is this?" "Fleet Admiral Zoa. They apply adhesives indiscriminately, Chancellor. They are known to collect anything they find. I am reading reports of strollers, broken toasters, even novelty lawn gnomes disappearing into their dwellings." Chancellor Vri, voice tinged with incredulous sarcasm. So our stealth technology is bested by domestic organizational bliss? A tense silence, punctuated only by the soft hum of distant reactors. General Zeke. In short, they gather everything. We cannot consider a planet unconquerable until we factor in the chaos of human curiosity. Thus, Phase 1 collapsed under the weight of human triviality. The documentary-grade footage intended to reveal Earth's military installations instead captured close-ups of Joe's oil-spattered finger, a chewed pencil stuck in a grass catcher, and the mower's faded decal reading, "Property of J. Peterson." The Xantheans engineered warp-drive carriers and quantum stealth orbs, yet they failed to predict the sheer unpredictability of mankind, from taping down a mysterious object to pocketing it as a sentimental keepsake. That very randomness becomes the most formidable defense against any invader. A meticulously plotted invasion dissolves into slapstick when met with everyday banality. The gulf between imperial ambition and an Iowan farmer's duct tape ritual underscores the absurdity of assuming any plan is foolproof. Ordinary individuals, oblivious to their role, wield chaotic power greater than any superweapon. Joe never set out to save Earth, but his offhand act disrupted an invasion, proof that heroism can emerge in the most mundane moments. True dominion over humanity hinges not on superior firepower, but on understanding, and perhaps even embracing, their capacity for beautiful disorder. As the Xanthean High Command scrambles to rewrite their conquest manual, one thing remains clear. In the grand theater of cosmic drama, it's the human penchant for collecting random junk and taping it down that will write the final act. 2. Chaotic resonance. When galactic masterplans collide with human whimsy. In the grand tapestry of conquest, the Xantheans unveiled Phase 2, the plasma pod designed to knock out regional power grids and usher in pitch-black pandemonium. From their command citadels, technicians tracked the glowing orb as it hurtled toward Florida's Gulf Coast, ready to cascade a wave of electromagnetic fury across the Sunshine State. Every step was choreographed with surgical precision until real life intervened. At Swamp Bites, a roadside shack famed for its alligator nuggets, 72-year-old Linda was manning the fry station. The plasma pod, barely larger than a basketball yet hotter than July pavement, plummeted through the roof of her kitchen trailer, sizzling beside vats of bubbling oil. Without missing a beat, Linda snatched it up with her tongs and hoisted it over the fryer. Linda, cackling, "Hold my beer, watch this fry." As the pod was submerged, the entire fryer lit up in radiant blue-green arcs, sending sparks dancing across the grease. The power lines outside obediently surrendered, plunging half the county into darkness. Inside, the fryer purred louder than any blackout generator ever built. Linda, oblivious to interstellar ramifications, scooped the deep-fried mystery sphere onto a paper tray and passed it to a curious teenager clutching a gator nugget. Back on the command bridge, alarms screamed. Admiral Zoer, deadpan, confirmed that Phase 2 has devolved into a deep fry competition? Lieutenant Crun, affirmative. The pod's energy signature is being repurposed as cooking fuel. Thus, the plan to cripple Earth's infrastructure culminated in an impromptu cooking show. Power poles snapped, transformers fizzled, and yet somewhere between the French fries and hush puppies, humanity found itself savoring the universe's first ever plasma fry. High Chancellor Vri, voice like lead, we intended mass panic. Instead, we've created artisanal street food. As Florida plunged into near total blackout, locals flocked to Swamp Bite's unplanned pop-up. They queued beneath flickering streetlights, chanting, "More pods! More pods!" in delirious delight. Meanwhile, Xanthean strategists updated their invasion logs with one new entry. The power cut strategy became the first deep fry spectacle in history. Reeling from the culinary fiasco, the Xantheans initiated Phase Gamma, a psychological onslaught via subsonic frequencies transmitted directly through their geosynchronous satellites. The objective was to infiltrate human minds, inducing existential dread with beats so low they would kneecap even the staunchest resistance. In Brooklyn, DJ Cousteau was in his studio spinning a new East Coast underground mix when a mysterious signal overrode his equipment. His speakers pulsated with a seismic bass that rattled windows and stirred coffee cups. Oblivious to cosmic intent, he dropped his fader and exclaimed, "DJ Cousteau," into mic. "This bass goes deep, but what was that?" Moments later, a group of teenagers on the corner picked up the odd frequency and layered it into a trap remix titled, "Bring It On." They looped the sub-bass under snappy hi-hats and synthesized sirens from old cop car sirens they recorded downtown. Before long, "Bring It On" had gone viral. On the Xanthean broadcast servers, the Invasion Council watched data scroll like frantic ticker tape. General Zeke. They're not succumbing to terror, they're remixing our sonic weapon into a dance craze. Commander Svala, exasperated, our psychological assault has been retrofitted into youth entertainment. They're literally laughing at us. At nightclubs worldwide, sweaty bodies thumped to the very frequencies meant to break their will. The DJs, unaware of the pod origins, credited a lost satellite feed for the track's viral status. Meanwhile, across Earth, psychologists noted a curious phenomenon. The subsonic waves boosted serotonin levels, leaving dancers invigorated rather than anxious. The Xantheans' elaborate schemes, plasma blackouts and sonic terror, crashed headlong into human eccentricity. From Linda's Friar to Brooklyn's trap beats, the unexpected inventive spirit of ordinary people rewrote the narrative. Where invaders sought fear, humanity found festivity. The deep-fried pod became a culinary legend. The doom-laden bass birthed a dance anthem. Chaos, in human hands, transformed destruction into delight. Earth's inhabitants didn't just subvert the invasion, they layered it with their own creativity. By sampling alien tech for comfort food and dance music, they neutralized existential threats with shared laughter and movement. The greatest miscalculation any would-be hegemon can make is underestimating human whimsy. Structures, weapons, and signals can be repurposed into joyful subversions, rendering cosmic dominion as elusive as catching smoke with bare hands. As Phase Gamma wound down, the Xanthean command recorded a final note of bitter acceptance. Conquering Earth required more than superior tech, it demanded the unpredictable submission of human imagination. Yet, as hipsters and farmers alike toasted to their viral triumphs, one truth shone brighter than any supernova. The chaotic power of humanity is the universe's most enduring mystery. 3. The chaotic edge, when mundane mayhem thwarts galactic dominance. In the meticulously plotted timeline of the Xanthean invasion, Phase Delta, known ominously as the probe deployment, was supposed to culminate in a swift incineration of Earth's northern agricultural belt. Instead, it turned into an impromptu backyard barbecue in rural Montana. At precisely 3:12 a.m. Mountain Time, a sleek reconnaissance probe descended through the pines, its surface shimmering with nanosensors. By 3:14, it had become the centerpiece of Hank Thompson's weekend cookout. Hank, a 68-year-old retiree with a penchant for barbecue rubs and conspiracy documentaries, spotted the probe gliding toward his smoker. Without a moment's hesitation, he yanked it from the grass, wiped off the morning dew, and propped it atop a half-filled charcoal pit. Around him, his fellow retirees, members of the Great Falls Barbecue Club, cheered as the probe's exotic alloys hissed and roasted between hickory logs. Hank, grinning as he flipped the probe, "Best ribs I've ever had." Within seconds, the probe's thermal core breached its culinary bounds, sending a shockwave that blew out half of Hank's chicken coop. Feathers and splinters rained down as the coop collapsed in a plume of dust. Neighbors emerged from their trailers to find Hank brandishing a smoky rack of what he claimed were mystery ribs, completely oblivious to the fact that he'd just neutralized one of the most advanced Xanthean surveillance units ever deployed. Back aboard the Xanthean command vessel, analysts watched the telemetry feed flash from crimson to black. General Svala, deadpan, "They have converted our probe into a Coke-O-Vin-level distraction." High Chancellor Vree's voice crackled in the chamber. "Chancellor Vree, they see us as the ambushers, when in fact we've ambushed ourselves." Thus, what was intended to be a surgical insertion of alien eyes into Earth's heartland transformed into an all-night barbecue spectacle. Instead of gleaning strategic data on crop yields and troop movements, the Xantheans recorded one man's gleeful declaration that mystery meat never tasted so good. Reeling from a probe-turned-pig roast, the Xantheans unveiled their final gambit. Phase Mindworms, a psychological assault designed to burrow into the minds of all 7.9 billion humans via subspace telepathy. The plan called for delicate insertion of microscopic neural parasites, mindworms, capable of hijacking thought patterns and inducing mass compliance. By 4 o'clock, the first wave had launched, streaming directly into every cell phone, gaming console, and smart refrigerator on the planet. Within minutes, Slack channels, Discord servers, and family group chats lit up with cryptic messages. Group chat, Midwestern conspiracy theorists, did you guys get that weird itch after gaming last night? Check the frequencies. Hardcore gamers paused their raids to investigate phantom lag spikes, while self-help forums saw a sudden spike in alien suggestion memes. Viewers binge-watching true crime documentaries were abruptly begging for the rest of the story. Across social media, 6.2 billion individuals fell into a state of engrossed hyperactivity, sharing screenshots of audio waveforms, debating esoteric symbolism, and remixing the Mindworm's signature whisper into conspiracy podcasts. However, not all went according to cosmic script. One Mindworm, freshly coded for high-level infiltration, found itself entangled in a thread dedicated to Bigfoot theories on a subforum called Sasquatch Seekers Anonymous. There, it encountered an infinite cascade of footstep recordings and blurry forest photos. Overwhelmed by loops of "Is it a Yeti?" and "Sounds like a bear," the worm crashed its own quantum process and triggered an automatic termination. Back at Xanthean headquarters, the Invasion Council tallied the outcomes. Lieutenant Krun, infiltration success, 6.2 billion. Partial failure, 1 worm stuck in Bigfoot lore. Fleet Admiral Zoa, sardonically, our greatest weapon neutralized by amateur cryptozoologists. How poetic. Chancellor Vree sighed, the weight of cosmic ambition momentarily bowing under the absurdity of human distraction. Chancellor Vree, they run from monsters in the woods, ignore invaders in the sky, and fry our technology for dinner. Distraction is their strongest defense. Across barbecue pits and basement chat rooms, humanity's unpredictable antics have consistently turned the tide against superior forces. From the retired grill masters of Montana to the meme lords of online forums, ordinary individuals wield chaos as both shield and sword. The brilliance of the Xanthean invasion lay not in weaponry or telepathy, but in its underestimation of one fundamental truth: the capacity for delightful disorder is the universe's most formidable fortress. As the Xantheans retreat to rewrite their conquest manuals, Earthlings, united by curiosity, humor, and the sudden urge to pop some corn, celebrate without realizing that their quirkiest habits have become the galaxy's greatest safeguard. In the end, it is not order but the glorious unpredictability of human nature that reigns supreme. For Unruly Dominion, how everyday chaos dismantled a galactic armada. The Xanthean High Command, certain of victory, amassed their invisible armada just beyond lunar orbit. Hundreds of warships, each silently cloaked in quantum stealth, formed a ring the size of a city's worth of skyscrapers. From the bridge of the flagship Imperious Dawn, Admiral Vrika surveyed the dark expanse through her holodisplay, confident that not even Earth's greatest telescopes could pierce their defense. Back on Earth, a sleep-deprived YouTuber named Carla Starwatch Martinez was live-streaming the night sky from her backyard telescope. Her on-screen overlay flashed, "Carla, wide-eyed, UFO fleet near moon. Click to believe." Hundreds of thousands of viewers tuned in as she panned the scope toward a seemingly empty patch of black. Then, in the top left corner, a faint ripple, like a heat haze on asphalt, briefly revealed the silhouette of 3 capital ships. Within seconds, her home Wi-Fi blinked out as her router, overloaded by curious viewers, crashed spectacularly. "Carla, frantic guys? My Wi-Fi just gave up the ghost. Did you see that?" On board Imperious Dawn, sensors momentarily flickered with confusion. "Lieutenant Krun, Admiral, our stealth matrix just failed. It appears a terrestrial broadcast has overloaded our subspace compensator." Admiral Vrika, deadpan, all of our grand strategy, undone by a clickbait stream and poor network infrastructure. As quickly as the ships had emerged, they shimmered out of existence, rendered as invisible on every chart by a single overloaded home router. Narrator, omniscient, Rai. In the end, everything dissolved with a tweet. While the Armada vanished, pockets of Xanthean resistance scrambled to salvage the mission. On a tattered military outpost in Nevada, 17-year-old Ethan Reyes and his fluff-coated mutt, Nova, stood guard over an improvised laser turret. The turret's power source, a salvaged car battery and a jumble of capacitors. As the final Xanthean skirmish ship descended, cloaked no longer by fleet-wide defense, Ethan flicked a switch. A pale green beam shot toward the sky, slicing through the hull's shimmering field. Sparks rained as the ship's magnetic compensator overloaded with stray photons. Somewhere on the turret, a capacitor hissed and exploded in a shower of fragments. Nova, spooked by the crackle, leaped onto the control console. With one paw she pressed a red button, rerouting all remaining power into the laser's capacitors. The beam intensified, flicked, then surged in a sudden confluence of voltage, like a lightning bolt forging its own path. Ethan, triumphant, "Take that, Utin cans." The warship's reactor ruptured in a silent implosion, collapsing in on itself like a dying star. Across the desert, the remains of the Xanthean fleet fell one by one, each shot echoing through valleys in a series of muted booms. Narrator, omniscient, Rai. And so the fleet collapsed under the might of a teenage engineer and his accidental hero dog. In the aftermath, the Xanthean Imperator issued the first comprehensive human profile dossier in planetary conquest history. The final classification, Class 12, Hyper-Chaotic Hazard. Within its pages, annotated with ink that smelled faintly of ozone, was the conclusion of a species assessment. Imperator Torzal, booming through the hollow sphere, we've never faced such unpredictability. The report cataloged millions of human behaviors. Data point A, repurposing alien nanoprobes into barbecue gadgets. Data point B, converting global power grids into deep-fry spectacles. Data point C, remixing sonic terror frequencies into addictive dance anthems. Data point D, overloading lunar cloaking nets with streaming viewers' poor bandwidth. Data point E, spontaneous defense by teenage hobbyists and their curious pets. Each entry was punctuated by a footnote, subject to unanticipated hilarity. In the final section, a single line summarized the entire failed invasion. Human capacity for chaotic improvisation renders conventional military strategy obsolete. From Carla's livestream to Hank's impromptu barbecue, human spontaneity created effective barriers against an interstellar invasion. It was not the mightiest armies or the most advanced technologies that protected Earth, but the delightfully unpredictable nature of everyday people. Every Xanthean phase collapsed not through direct confrontation but via the absurd twist of everyday life. Deadpan cooking shows, viral remixes, and overloaded home networks proved that humor and resourcefulness can disarm even the most calculated threats. Nova's unintentional button press and Ethan's jury-rigged turret underscore an essential truth: heroism lives in improvisation. In the face of cosmic warfare, it was a teenager's loyalty and a dog's curiosity that delivered the final blow. The Xanthean dossier now warns future conquerors: when planning omnipotent strategies, always account for the Class 12 hyper-chaotic hazard. Earth's defense does not lie in better shields but in embracing the uncharted terrain of human unpredictability. As the cosmos absorbs the shockwave of Earth's victory, the human race returns to its routines: barbecues under summer skies, impassioned debates over conspiracy theories, and late-night coding sessions to patch home assistant integrations. Beneath the surface of everyday mundanity simmers a chaotic power, one that cannot be synthesized, quantified, or contained. It is the ultimate anomaly, the sweetest rebellion, human chaos, triumphant in its glorious, unrepeatable unpredictability. 5. The Human Chaos Chronicles. When mundane Mavericks topple galactic empires. In the highest echelons of Xanthean strategy, nothing went according to plan. While the Great Armada lay in ruin and laser turrets sputtered into silence, the Xanthean High Council convened to reassess their defeat. Little did they know that Earth's salvation would come not from grand armadas or psychic invasions, but from the humble absurdity of human ingenuity and its unrivaled capacity for chaos. In the obsidian splendor of the Hall of Imperiums, Imperator Azor and Vice-Regent Nira glowered at a holoprojector displaying video clips of Ethan Reyes, the teenage gunslinger who had, quite literally, incinerated their finest warships. The chamber's ambient glow exaggerated every furrowed brow. Imperator Azor, voice like molten steel, he is not one of our soldiers. He has no rank, no training, no mandate. Vice-Regent Nira, deadpan, is he even military? The question hung in the air, more devastating than any superweapon. Azor's mandibles clicked in irritation. Imperator Azor, he wields a leaf-blower flamethrower. A murmur rippled through the assembled council. In every corner of the galaxy, commanders brandished gravity cannons, plasma lances, and psychic disruptors. Yet here a mere teenage hobbyist, aided by his mutt Nova, had laid waste to the flagship Imperious Dawn and half their skirmish line with jury-rigged junk. Vice-Regent Nira, sardonically, our most advanced cloaking network fell to a blender, a toddler's toy, and, apparently, a dog. Imperator Azor slammed a fist on the obsidian dais so hard the support columns shuddered. Imperator Azor, voice low, echoing, our cosmic strategists are powerless before such unpredictability. And so the High Council of Xanthea, perched above the stars in their throne room of irony, conceded that their greatest minds could not account for a species whose trivial pursuits, from backyard cookouts to TikTok tutorials, wielded more power than any fleet or mindworm. Back on Earth, the real turning point came courtesy of a homemade YouTube video titled, How to Melt Alien Armor with Your Kitchen Blender. Shot in a cramped studio apartment, the clip opened with a cheerful host named Jenna holding a pristine fragment of Xanthean alloy, salvaged from a downed probe. Jenna, grinning. Today, we'll see if this fancy extraterrestrial metal can handle my Vitrimax 5000. She loaded shards of the alien armor into the blender, added a teaspoon of cooking oil for that crispy finish, and pressed blend. The blades whirred, sparks flew, and a plume of bluish vapor drifted from the container. Jenna stirred the resulting paste with a wooden spoon, presented it to the camera as if revealing a 5-star soufflé, and murmured, Jenna, matter-of-fact, global war machine defeated by a blender. Within 48 hours, the video hit 30 million views. Reaction memes exploded. When your conquest is cancelled by small appliances, Galactic Overlords 0, Earth 1, and a TikTok challenge inviting users to test their own blenders against mysterious metallic objects. Marketers quickly branded Blender Shield, a line of aftermarket blades proven against hostile interstellar alloys. Meanwhile, the Xanthean command watched the view counter tick upwards in disbelief. General Zeke, voice hollow, our dreadnoughts, reduced to viral B-roll fodder. The saga of blender warfare became the defining moment of the invasion. A weaponization tutorial intended for kitchen convenience inadvertently became Earth's deadliest defense. Proof that, when faced with annihilation, humans do what they do best: turn everything, even super technology, into entertainment. On the live streaming platform Twitch, two brothers, Milo and Owen Carter, hosted a late-night show called Frequency Hunters. Their specialty, decoding alien signals plucked from shortwave frequencies. When the Xanthean mindworm transmissions began pinging every smart device on Earth, Milo and Owen scrambled to tune in. Milo added, "Guys, do you hear that low hum? It's like Cosmic Whale's song crossed with bass from hell." Owen, typing furiously, "Check the chat. Someone's calling it weaponized chaos." Their audience swelled to 500,000 concurrent viewers. Chat flooded with theories. It's a mind control pulse, duck and cover. Nope, just my neighbor's subwoofer. Guys, what if it's the universe tickling our eardrums? As the brothers parsed the data, spectrograms flickering, bitrate graphs spiking, they realized the signal's effect was hypnotic. Listeners reported fleeting epiphanies, uncontrollable fits of laughter, and sudden urges to remix the bass into trap beats. Owen leaned into the mic. "Owen, shrugging folks, this might be the weirdest podcast episode in history. We're literally decoding an interstellar O. By the episode's end, chat was ablaze with user-generated memes, fan art of cartoon mindworms sipping tea, and threads debating whether weaponized chaos was the Xanthians' greatest weapon or their biggest blunder. Despite the brothers' earnest attempts to save humanity by archiving and analyzing the transmission, the audience had already transformed the event into a shared cultural phenomenon. The Xanthean broadcast, intended to break human will, instead became fodder for laughter and community. Narrator, omniscient, Rai, the greatest civilization's classified signals ended up locked in a Twitch channel. From the obsidian halls of Xanthean strategy to suburban kitchens and streamer studios, Earth's salvation lay in its own glorious disorder. Imperator Azor's fleet fell prey to overloaded routers. Vice-Regent Nira's battle drills floundered against teenage dog handlers. Global war machines were roasted in backyard pits and pulverized in household blenders. And mind control broadcasts were memed into oblivion by podcast fanbases. These episodes reveal a profound truth. Chaos is humanity's ultimate shield. No algorithm can predict the whim of a retiree tending coals, the creativity of a YouTuber with a blender, or the camaraderie of an online community riffing on alien signals. As the smoke clears and Xanthean records are archived as Class 12 hyper-chaotic hazards, Earth celebrates not with grand parades, but with impromptu barbecues, viral DIY experiments, and late-night live streams. For in every unexpected twist, every mundane hero, and every laugh shared across continents, lies the chaotic power that no invader, cosmic or otherwise, can ever conquer. 6. Chaotic Vanguard. How everyday spectacle undid the greatest galactic plots. From neon-lit casinos to interstellar boardrooms, humanity's knack for turning cosmic stratagems into farce has shone brighter than any supernova. As the Xanthean invasion wore on, their final masterstrokes unraveled not through martial valor, but via the glittering chaos of human whimsy. Behold the last 4 acts in this epic. Deep under the neon haze of Las Vegas, the Xanthians dispatched Operative Vex to blend in with Earth's entertainment elite. Clad in a bespoke Armani suit, courtesy of a clandestine alliance between Xanthean tailors and off-strip discount outlets, Vex wove through crowds at the Mirage Casino, memorizing the patterns of slot machines as though decoding enemy encryption. His mission: plant subdermal tracking implants in every high roller's wristband, securing data on Earth's financial upper crust. Yet Vegas, a city built on spectacle, had other plans. Under a billboard promising world's greatest magician, tonight only, Vex found himself enraptured by smoke and mirror illusions. Within an hour, he had signed up for an amateur magic contest hosted in a dingy showroom beneath the Flamingo. With a borrowed deck of cards and hollowed-out champagne bottle, he performed jaw-dropping sleight of hand. As confetti cannons boomed overhead, he gasped, "Vex, eyes alight, sign me up for America's Got Talent." On stage, Vex interrogation technologies lay forgotten in his coat pocket. His hand trembled not with fear but with thrill as he produced a dove from thin air, only to have it flutter off into the audience, where it was promptly adopted by a bachelorette party. Behind him, a row of elderly retirees snapped Polaroids, mistaking his tactical visor for an avant-garde headpiece. Back in the observation deck of the Xanthean reconnaissance satellite, analysts watched the live feed collapse into pink and gold. Analyst Krun, deadpan, our most secret operative has been neutralized by cheap stage lights. Thus, the grand espionage maneuver dubbed Veil Shadow dissolved into Las Vegas glitter. The Xanthean High Command later summarized this calamity with ruthless candor. Narrator, omniscient strike the spy with a cheap aura. As reports of human antics flooded interstellar channels, over 80 advanced civilizations convened at Topple Juno, a moon-sized diplomatic station orbiting a carbon star. Delegates from techno-philosophers, crystal empath empires, and sentient nebulae gathered in a cavernous hall sculpted from living graphite. The air thrummed with anxious murmurs. At the podium, Ambassador Siorlis of the Auroran Collective addressed the assembly in a voice like refracted starlight. "Ambassador Siorlis, we must quarantine Earth." Her words echoed across the chamber, eliciting nods and horrified gasps in equal measure. Representatives from the harmonic convergence murmured about interference with planetary frequency, while the Gearmind Consortium fretted over mechanical contamination. Yet even as they drafted edicts and tomes of restriction, the holographic monitors behind them flickered with footage of Earthlings vying in blender-based armor meltdowns and toddler-driven mech car races. Amid the solemn declarations, a delegate from the Council of Quantum Weavers sighed, Delegate Shah, our greatest symposium reduced to debating viral cat memes. Another, an ancient being of pulsating gas, emitted a low hum, its version of a facepalm. Underneath the gravity of a possible interstellar embargo, the Alliance found itself immobilized by the absurd reality unfolding on a tiny blue planet. Their covenants and quarantine protocols, painstakingly drafted over centuries, now felt weightless compared to the unpredictable human spirit. Narrator, omniscient, even the most solemn councils buckled beneath the glittering chaos of Earth's viral spectacles. One of the Galactic Alliance's prized audit vessels, the Pax Observant, docked above Des Moines for routine treaty inspections. Staff believed the ship's cloaking field invisible, its logs impenetrable. But at Roosevelt High School, the Robotics Club had other ideas. Armed with second-hand laptops and open-source firmware, 12 students reverse-engineered the vessel's beacon translator, repurposing it to broadcast their homemade EDM mix, Synth Storm over Burlington. At precisely 2:14 a.m., the Observant's primary systems rebooted, only to stream bass-heavy beats through its corridor speakers. The corridors, meant for diplomatic envoys, throbbed with four-on-the-floor kick drums, neon strobes flickering in zero gravity. Outside, faculty advisor Mr. Clayton arrived, bleary-eyed, flashlight in hand. Mr. Clayton, yawning, we thought it was a museum exhibit. Inside, students commandeered the ship's ambient light controls, choreographing laser sprays and synchronized LED bursts. They renamed the vessel USS Chaos Controller and invited their classmates to a zero-G feast of nachos and root beer floats. Meanwhile, Alliance auditors, clad in formal regalia, wandered the dance floor, unsure if they'd wandered into an illicit rave or witnessed the collapse of galactic oversight. Once the club's patch was traced and the kids politely asked to disembark, with signed permission slips, the Pax Observant resumed its duty. Later reports lamented, narrator, omniscient, Rai, the pinnacle of peacekeeping technology, transformed into a party ship. From neon-soaked casinos to moonlit summits and high school workshops, each meticulously planned phase of the Xanthean invasion, and its Alliance aftermath, crumbled at the altar of human caprice. We witnessed spectacle over strategy, operatives seduced by stagecraft, spies eclipsed by Vegas lights. Diplomacy drowned in distractions, galactic councils reduced to wrangling over viral Blender videos. Peace vessels repurposed as party platforms. Robotics clubs rewriting the code of interstellar oversight. Such episodes illuminate a broader truth. Chaos is more than random disorder. It is a generative force. Human whimsy, the capacity for subversive creativity, and the gleeful embrace of the absurd have become Earth's most potent defense. No algorithm can predict the flurry of imagination that leads retirees to grill alien tech or students to remix warships into rave arenas. As our blue planet spins on its axis, unmolested by galactic dominion, we stand at the brink of a new frontier. Not one defined by conquest or containment, but by the wild tapestry of unpredictability. For in every unplanned barbecue, every impromptu pod performance, and every basement-coded hack lies a seed of resistance, proof that no empire, however vast, can outmaneuver the capricious heart of humanity. And so, as the stars watch on, we find solace in the mayhem we conjure, knowing that our greatest allegiance is to chaos itself, and its uncanny power to confound the cosmos. 7. Earthly Reveries, the unscripted acts that sealed humanity's fate. In the grand cosmic chronicle of the Xanthean invasion, no phase reflected the absurd beauty of human unpredictability more than the quotidian tapestry of life on Earth. As the last warships fell, the Alliance's edicts roared from distant star councils, yet on our planet, citizens remained delightfully engrossed in debates over toppings, wildlife encounters, and viral mishaps. Even as our star system was sealed off with an anomaly zone, humanity carried on, weaving chaos into the mundane. At 7:03 p.m. in suburban Minneapolis, 3 college roommates stood around a circular table plastered with greasy takeout boxes. A deep dish pizza, half crowned with pineapple chunks and half left bare, sat between them like an edible battleground. Jeff, leaning forward, solemnly, "Pineapple belongs on pizza." Across the table, Maria rolled her eyes so hard they rattled in her skull. Maria, calmly, "That's culinary heresy." Their animated squabble, peppered with deadpan barbs, drew the attention of their cat, Plato, who batted a stray olive off the table and strolled away, utterly unconcerned with the fate of pineapple. Meanwhile, in the pine-shaded outskirts of Montana, local resident Sandra Reeves had a different kind of morning drama. On her front porch, she discovered a black bear rummaging through her recycling bin. Unscrewing the lid of a soda can, she bellowed, "Sandra," unfazed, "Shoo, bear, this isn't a drive-through." With surprising politeness, the bear tore away, leaving behind an upturned bin and a single aluminum can dented like a thrown discus. Sandra shrugged, swept pine needles from her welcome mat, and returned to pruning her roses. On the East Coast, a viral clip had begun making its rounds, a middle-aged fitness enthusiast jogging on a treadmill in his garage. Distracted by a motivational podcast, he failed to notice the speed ramping up. The camera wobbled as he launched himself airborne like a failed superhero audition, crashing into a pile of cardboard boxes. He emerged minutes later, dazed, holding a half-empty water bottle. Before waterlogged sweat could dry, the clip had 20 million views and spawned dozens of remixes: Treadmill Takeoff, When Gravity Sneaks Up, and Cardboard Castle Crash. Through these slices of life, pizza feuds, bear chases, and treadmill pratfalls, Earth refused to be consumed by cosmic dread. Instead, it revealed in its own small-scale dramas, each moment a testament to the chaotic power of the everyday. On the obsidian dais of the Galactic Alliance's Emergency Council, ambassadors peered at holodisplays chronicling humanity's antics. The once mighty Xanthean threat had melted away into meme culture faster than any laser turret could obliterate. With grave ceremony, the Alliance Secretary General delivered the closing communique. Effective immediately, the Sol Sector is designated as a Class A anomaly zone. No trade, no contact, no exceptions. The words echoed in the vast chamber like a funeral toll. Atrium speakers crackled with static before a final pixelated image of Earth's radiant blue-green swirls dissolved into black. Delegates in crystalline robes murmured among themselves. Some applauded the decision as necessary for galactic security. Others lamented the enforced solitude of an entire species. Ambassador Zeus, isolation is our only concession to cosmic order. Yet even as the edict sank in, the faint hum of Earth's routers, still streaming pizza debate podcasts, bear chase live streams, and treadmill faceplants, was audible across subspace. The Alliance's quarantine line had snipped any chance of diplomatic exchange, but it could not silence the network of human creativity that pulsed like a stubborn ember. In that sense, the self-imposed exile of our star system became the universe's most delicious irony. We were cut off, yet our chaos continued to reverberate across every dormant frequency. Narrator: thus did humanity seal its own containment, yet the containment could not seal our spirit. In rural Saskatchewan, 85-year-old Wallace McBride sat on his porch swing, riveting birdhouse components together from scrap cedar. Above him, a battered CB antenna caught the waning sun's glow. His Heil Pro headset crackled with distant chatter, the last terrestrial voices eking through the static of interstellar jamming. A terse bulletin emerged: Solar System, officially anomaly zone. No outreach. Wallace, is it real? Wallace adjusted his braces, peered at the horizon, and exhaled through a tuft of wispy beard. He tapped his headset mic. Well, that'll keep the birdies guessing. He set the radio down, picked up a tiny wooden perch, and continued nailing it into place. Around him, sparrows chirped in the fading light, unburdened by cosmic quarantines. From college dining tables to rustic porches, humanity's chaotic flourish has proven a defense no fleet or quarantine could override. Consider, The power of trivial debate. A pizza-topping squabble galvanized online communities, spawning discussions that outlasted intergalactic directives. Nature reclaimed. A lone bear foraging rattled an entire emergency protocol, reminding both humans and Xantheans that wilderness respects no invasion plan. Viral calamities. A treadmill misadventure united viewers in empathetic laughter, disrupting the solemn cadence of cosmic news cycles. Isolation subverted. Even as the Alliance erected an anomaly zone, ham radio and scrap-built broadcast rigs ensured Earth's pulse remained audible across the void. These snapshots reveal a larger truth. Human chaos is not mere randomness, but a generative force that thwarts the most formidable designs. Our proclivity for spirited debate, impulsive kindness, and gleeful mischief transforms the minutiae of life into bulwarks against tyranny. No quarantine edict, no embargo, no imperial fleet can contain the boundless creativity of a species that thrives on unpredictability. As the cosmic quarantine line glows red on every star map, Earth's signal persists. In debates over pineapple, in the galloping heartbeat of the wild, in the raucous joy of an unexpected fall, and in the gentle hammering of a birdhouse in Saskatchewan. In our chaos lies our greatest strength, the uncontainable spirit that, even in isolation, binds us all. And so, the universe learns its final lesson: conquer chaos, and you inherit nothing but silence. Confront humanity, and you face the infinite echo of our unplanned, glorious symphony. 8. Observer Zenith, witnessing humanity's unwitting triumph. High above the war-torn skies, cloaked within the orbital cradle known as the Zenith Observatory, Kievan the historian observed Earth's final act with quiet astonishment. From his vantage point in the sleek hush of quantum stealth corridors, he recorded a simple truth: they don't know how mighty they are. Below him, a suburban playground played out a scene that would cement the human species' victory not through weapons or strategy, but through the unruly brilliance of their everyday chaos. In a grassy cul-de-sac in Boise, Idaho, for children, faces smudged with dirt and determination, gathered around a battered plastic bottle. A weekend science kit lay open, vinegar in one pint container, baking soda in a crumpled paper cup, and a length of nylon string tethering the scene to a telephone pole. Every detail spoke of improvisation rather than instruction. One child's sneaker doubled as a makeshift funnel, another had propped up the bottle on an overturned tote box. Kievan clicked a silent shutter through his observation viewport. He noted how the children's hands shook with excitement as they spooned baking soda into the bottle, then tipped in a rush of vinegar. A fizzle grew into a roar as the mixture erupted, sending the plastic vessel hurtling skyward, flipping once, twice, before landing with a soggy thud on a neighbor's lawn. Child 1, giggling, "I bet it goes to the moon." Child 2, wiping tears of laughter, "Yeah, but it forgot its parachute." An unattended hose lay nearby, spraying the grass with a fine mist. The children abandoned the soggy rocket, slipping and sliding as they gave chase, shrieking in delighted defeat. The bottle, now half buried in mulch, shared the stage with a wayward soccer ball and a discarded water pistol. From the silent calm of the Zenith Observatory, Kievan transcribed his analysis. Earth's most advanced fleets and clandestine spy networks had sought to subdue humanity through fear and order. Yet it was in this ungoverned kaleidoscope of backyard experiments, of children inventing their own rules on sunlit afternoons, that the true power of humankind revealed itself. He recorded commentary on the incongruity of cosmic ambition versus terrestrial whimsy. Kievan's note: a species capable of repurposing household chemicals into launch vehicles, without manuals or protocols, defies every calculus of conquest. Their might lies not in uniform regiments but in the organic chaos of their ingenuity. Indeed, while star admirals recalibrated energy shields and military analysts recalculated orbital trajectories, humanity's chaotic spark burned brightest in the most mundane theater: the backyard, the garage, the schoolyard. In each fumble, each improvised tool, each spontaneous eruption of laughter, they fashioned a shield that no fleet or edict could penetrate. Over the ensuing minutes, Kievan's logs traced dozens of similar vignettes across the planet. A retiree in rural France turning a downed reconnaissance drone into a fashion statement by hot gluing it to a bicycle helmet. A group of teenagers in Seoul live streaming a pocket-forged tutorial that melted superalloy fragments into novelty rings, distracting robotic sentries with viral comments. A family in Rio de Janeiro hosting a spontaneous salad bar blockade, turning crates of produce into barricades that halted an entire mechanized march for hours. Each anecdote, captured in the glow of remote visual feeds, reaffirmed the central thesis: chaos is humanity's ultimate engine of defense. No algorithm could anticipate the infinite permutations of ordinary life, nor could any drone swarm or psychic waveform overcome a species that turned confusion into a weapon. Keyvarn paused his dictation to watch the Idaho children reassemble their rocket for a second launch. This time they adjusted the cap, taped the fins with duct tape, and calibrated the vinegar ratio with exaggerated seriousness. When the bottle sputtered upward again, this time to nearly 20 feet, an eruption of cheers followed. Child 3, pumping fist, I told you we could do it. In his mind's eye, Keyvarn juxtaposed this tableau against the silent mausoleums of Xanthean dreadnoughts, drifting empty in decaying orbits. The invaders' greatest weapons, their mindworms, cloaked armadas, psychic sonics, all fizzled in the face of human unpredictability. As the children scampered off, chasing their cupcake-fueled contraption into the gathering dusk, Keyvarn etched his final observation into the chronicle. Conquerors armed with certainty and precision falter against a people who wield chaos as their greatest asset. In every impromptu invention, every burst of laughter, every misfired experiment, humanity carves out its destiny. In the cradle cloaked above, the historian's voice resonated with reluctant admiration. He recognized that Earth's triumph would be catalogued not in grand monuments, but in the footnotes of cosmic histories, an ode to the everyday Mavericks whose simple acts of disorder undermined the very notion of conquest. Humanity did not prevail by the might of its armaments, nor by the genius of its commanders, but because they were too chaotic to fully understand, and thus impossible to defeat. In their glorious unpredictability lay the true victory. From drones smeared with glue, to blackout pods reborn as deep-fried curiosities, mindworms lost in endless group chats, and an entire cloaked fleet unmasked by a rogue Wi-Fi ping, each Xanthean phase collapsed under humanity's deliberate chaos. By replaying every failed Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase Gamma, we see the grand design undone by the most mundane antics. And then, in the quiet aftermath, Ethan and Nova recline on the porch with steaming mugs, gazing up at the stars, unwitting champions who never knew they'd save the planet. The static crackle of a Saskatchewan ham radio, well, that'll keep the birdies guessing, closes the cosmic saga with a laugh that echoes across galaxies. This isn't merely a tale of an invasion thwarted, it's an epic deadpan anthem, declaring chaos is their shield, randomness their sword. No strategic mind or advanced weaponry could match the unpredictable brilliance of everyday absurdity. They didn't just survive, they unknowingly conquered. What would you do if you were Ethan under this starry sky tonight? Drop your thoughts below and let the glorious pandemonium continue to unfold.